everybody, I'm Art from the A to Z Show, and welcome to Roll Film, where we look at the upcoming releases and tell you what's good, what's bad, and what's in between. And this week, we pretty much only have The Forest, which if you're into those subpar psychological horror films, which does have a pretty creepy atmosphere, does have a creepy score from Bear McCreary, then this one will probably be a solid rental for you, especially with that ending that I'm sure people will talk about. But honestly, the movie definitely fits its January release date, and really the only thing I got out of it was a confirmation that Natalie Dormer is in fact a human version of Lola Bunny. So instead, go watch The Revenant if you can, especially since it's getting its wider release, or perhaps look at the movies in the real list that we're covering in this video, which is the 2015 Hidden Film Gems. And no, it's not 2000 films, it's the films from last year that seem to be getting absolutely no recognition. And I don't mean those indie films with low box office results that people know about, they just haven't seen. I'm talking about those films that people haven't even heard of. They're not perfect, but they all do have something noteworthy in the film. They just have not received that mainstream attention. So maybe you are an extreme film fan, you know all these films and possibly should be on Winter Class, which, just click right there. Or hopefully this list will introduce you to some films that you might have never heard of before. So let's get into it, starting off with number 10. Blind is a Norwegian film centered around a woman's imagination after she loses her eyesight. She creates two fictional characters who interact with each other, but also begin to resemble her own life and her own fears. It's an extremely interesting approach in storytelling that writer-director Escovold achieves, even noting through the lead that it's not important what's real as long as I can visualize it. At number 9, we have The Connection, a French crime thriller meant to be a counterpart to The French Connection, starring America's rejected French actor from The Artist, Jean Dujardin. While it's nowhere near William Friedkin's Oscar winner, it's still a very solid film, portraying a Jim Gordon-like cop set out to take down a heroin ring mobster who gets plenty of focus and sympathy within the film's story as well. It's a great mobster flick with solid characters and gorgeous looking shots, especially those in the Krypton Club. At number 8, there's Victoria, which is a crime film revolving around bank robbers that is all filmed in one take. No gimmicks, no edits, but 2 hours and 20 minutes of uncut footage, putting you as an extra member of the group. Now that being said, it's not perfect by any means. There are definitely a lot of audio flaws, unstable shots, heck, there's even a point where we hear the cameraman breathe, but this thing is ambitious, not relying on being in a single area, but literally going all around the Berlin area, up buildings, through cars, starting at night and ending at dawn. So if you're a sucker for long takes, give this one a shot. At number 7, we have the Norwegian disaster flick The Wave, a film that does suffer from moronic syndrome where the characters just stare at a catastrophic event instead of, running away from it, but it still is beyond gorgeous in its setting. And while it is Norway's submission for the Oscars, it's also a film that sets out to remind Norwegians that, this is actually something that can happen, and pretty soon if they're not careful. Roar Uthwag, the director, even caught Warner Bros. Attention with the film and has been chosen to direct the Tomb Raider reboot because of it. In the 6th spot, we have 45 Years, which hands down has the best performances on this list. And to put it simply, the story revolves around a couple who is shy of their 45th anniversary when they receive a letter informing them that the husband's first love's body has been recovered in the Alps after an incident that happened decades prior. This builds a disturbance within the marriage, which escalates and even creates a love triangle, with one of them being a dead person. At number 5, there's Heaven Knows What, an indie that looks at the world of New York City junkies, almost feeling like an extra page off of Kids. With a budget of way less than $100,000, we get thrust into the disgusting, repulsive, and even sometimes pathetic world of these people. Yet, the raw feel from the performances and its aesthetics make it feel authentic, having only one professional actor in the cast, and even having the lead Ariel Holmes be a recovering addict herself who inspired the film's story through her memoir. At number 4, I have 2 animations, which yes, it may seem like I'm cheating, which just so happens to be the title for one of the animations that was kickstarted way back in 2012 by Bill Plimpton, who drew all of the monochrome pencil sketches that were then composited to create these watercolored-like images. While it's not the most appealing animation out there, in my opinion, it packs a pretty unique story. We follow a beautiful woman who gets staged with infidelity, causing her husband to take part in a series of affairs in order to find solace. Out of all the ways she can deal with it, she just so happens to meet a magician who suggests using a machine that can transport her consciousness into the bodies of the woman her husband is having an affair with. Yeah, it's not a kid's animation. World of Tomorrow, however, is the other animation which is a bit more kid appropriate, taking a little girl on a mind-bending tour of her distant future, and boy is this short not only phenomenal, but worth checking out right away. At number 3 we have The Beauty Inside, which is a Korean rom-com that is actually based off of a 6-part 2012 social experiment starring Elizabeth Winstead. Pretty much it revolves around this woman who loves a man whose body changes every day. Yep, so one day he's young, the other a kid, the next old, or a woman, or a foreigner, ultimately racking up 21 different actors who play the character of Woo Jin. Does the script play it safe at times? Sure, but it's still an intriguing concept that has enough entertaining interactions between the two that make it worth checking out. At number 2 we have The Farewell Party, which is possibly the funniest film for one of the most depressing subjects, assisted suicides in a nursing home. Blending comedy in the most awkward moments, it makes you understand the viewpoints of a topic that most would deem wrong, alongside having the best elderly cast of 2015, because there is a moment where one of the women in here goes out in public naked due to dementia. So what do her friends do? Well, they walk naked with her. Homies for life. Now, every film that was mentioned was done in no particular order except for this one. My number 1 hidden film gem of 2015 is the German drama Phoenix, telling the story of a disfigured Holocaust survivor who is unrecognizable after facial reconstruction surgery. She sets out to find her husband, who actually might have been the one who betrayed her to the Nazis. An incredibly impacting film filled with emotional metaphors and outstanding performances, which also happens to have one of the best, and I repeat, the best endings of 2015. So that's my list for the 10 hidden film gems that I was able to find. I am working on my 2015 list, which is a list that I feel, hey, if the Oscars aren't, telling you what the best film is till February, then I guess we can wait a little bit and actually look at all the films beforehand. Not a diss to anybody, but all of the films that I've been looking at going back, these were the hidden gems that I think are worth mentioning, may or may not make my top 10, but I still got a couple more to go before I make that list. But I am curious to hear your thoughts if you've seen any of these films, or if you do, your thoughts about them. Again, they're not all perfect, but they do have something that's worth mentioning within. If there's any other films that you'd like to mention down below in the comment sections, or anything else dealing with movies, we can discuss it. And until next time, continue to watch movies, and I'll see you guys later.